Neville awakens again, this time with a terribly sorrowful expression on his face. He recalls his birthday the next morning. When he gets to the video store, he discovers that his mannequins have been relocated. During the night, the infected set the identical trap he prepared for them the day before. Neville gets caught in the trap and collapses. He wakes up horribly injured, hanging upside down and bleeding. Sam had been patiently waiting for him. He eventually cuts himself free just as twilight falls, but he trips over his knife and impales his leg. The infected commander then emerges with infected dogs who attack Robert, but Sam protects him and manages to crawl back to his car to fetch a handgun, which he uses to shoot the infected dogs dead. When he sees Sam slump from a bite wound, he lifts her up and places her in the car. When he comes home, he places Sam on a table and administers an experimental vaccination to her. When Neville notices Sam's hair starting to come out and she tries to bite him, he is forced to murder her by strangling her while she fights in his arms. As he bids his lone buddy farewell, tears fall down his face. He then proceeds to bury her in the streets. In a fit of wrath, he intends to confront all of the infected. He speeds his SUV into the hordes of infected that walk the streets at night. He nearly goes off the pier and crashes, and the infected flip his SUV. A dazzling light falls on him just as he is going to die, and he blacks out. He experiences additional nightmares about the past while blacked out. This time, he dreams about the chopper in which his wife and kid fled New York. A neighboring chopper is assaulted by infected as it takes off and crashes into the aircraft transporting his family. He awakens in his residence with Shrek on TV and sutures in his knife wound. Anna and her son Ethan, who heard Robert's radio message and rushed to find him the day before, rescued him. Anna reveals her desire to depart New York and visit an immune survivors colony in Vermont. Robert, on the other hand, claims that he wishes to be alone and that such a location does not exist. Later that night, Robert notices the infected assaulting the house. They had followed Anna back when she rescued Robert the night before. Despite Robert's extensive home defenses, the infected are so numerous that they break the shutters and enter the house. Robert, Anna, and Ethan go downstairs to the basement lab. During the frantic battle, Robert notices that the sick female he had captured earlier and tested the viral vaccine on had returned to her human form. He takes a syringe full of her blood and hands it to Anna, directing her to go by a little trap door with Ethan. Robert remains behind to murder as many infected as he can, blowing them up along with himself, including the violent alpha male who has made it his particular mission to track Robert down. Anna and Ethan arrive to an unusual location in the midst of the countryside. The road is divided by a castle-like wall and a steel door. In that restricted enclave, several human survivors dwell. Anna hands the syringe with the antidote to the human leader of that little village, and her voiceover informs us of Robert Neville's tale. Alternate ending. During the confrontation with the infected, Robert notices that the infected female he had captured earlier and tested the viral vaccine on had returned to her human form. Alpha Vampire creates fractures in the glass chamber, in the shape of a butterfly, to indicate his desire for the female vampire's return. Robert takes off the narcotic drip and moves her outside the glass room, claiming to be listening to God. The Alpha Vampire orders the other vampires not to assault Robert, who is currently vaccinating the female in order to return her to vampire form. While Robert apologizes for murdering several vampires in his tests, the Alpha Vampire scoops her up and leaves with other vampires. Robert, Anna, and Ethan now move together and continue to search for more human survivors via AM transmissions.